talking about what I might do differently with Jackson than I did with Jane. A bunch of random different things that maybe I did with Jane that I don't want to do this time, or something that I didn't do with Jane that I do want to do this time, and things that I kind of learned with Jane. Or, you know, our situation is a little bit different being a family of 4 now, so some things have to be different. So I just wanted to go over those things with you guys today, and hopefully maybe you guys can give me some advice, or you've learned something from what I have to say as well. So the first main thing that I can think of is that Jackson will be sleeping in our room for a lot longer than Jane did. When we had Jane, we had her in a little bassinet rock and play right next to my bed for about 2 months, and then we moved her into her crib. Her bedroom was literally like 5 steps away, so even if we didn't have a monitor, I could hear her crying. So I felt good about moving her, and the reason why I wanted to move her early was because the rock and play was at a slight incline, and you know, made her like nice and cozy, and she slept so good in that thing. And I just wanted her to learn how to lay flat on her back and get used to her crib. I feel like that was a very good choice for us because Jane still loves her crib to this day, and I believe it's because she was in there from 2 months old and she just doesn't know the difference. So that's something that I wish we could do this time, but sadly it's probably not going to happen. And that is for a few reasons. The one reason is that our bedroom is downstairs and Jackson and Jane's room is upstairs. So if we were to move him to his room at 2 months, there would be a lot of me going up and down the steps in the middle of the night. And not only would I be going up and down the steps, their rooms or the stairs is at the opposite side of the house. So I'd have to get up, walk out of our bedroom, go all the way to the other side of the house, then up the stairs to his room, and then back down. And I remember Jane sleeping through the night somewhat at 2 months, but there was still a lot of getting up, especially when she learned how to roll over and when she would spit out her passy and she didn't know how to put it back in, especially when she was swaddled and things like that, to where I would have to get up a lot, even if she was sleeping through the night in general and not having to get up for a bottle. I can't remember exactly when it was that she didn't need a bottle anymore in the middle of the night, but she, like I said, she was still getting up so many different times. Sometimes, like I said, if her passy fell out, she would just cry, and as soon as I put the passy back in, she would be asleep. Like her eyes would just be closed crying, but that would still be a time that I'd have to get up and go into her room. So all those times going up and down the steps just doesn't sound very pleasing. So he will probably be down with us for a little bit longer, just so that I don't have to do that. I could possibly sleep up here. There's a guest room up here next to Jackson's room, as well as we're going to be putting a couch up here soon. We also have air mattresses, but I don't want to do that to Chris. I don't want to just be sleeping up here all the time just so that Jackson can be in his room. Obviously, all of these things that I'm telling you today could change. That's why I said what I might do different, because once he's here, I might change my mind totally. I know there was a lot of things that I thought that I was going to do with Jane and I didn't, or I didn't think I was going to do and I did. So this is just hypothetical and what we're planning on now. So he will probably be down with us for a little while. With that also, like I said, Jane's room was right down the hall from ours. Our house was also 1 story. So we had her little changing table and mat set up in her room, and that's where we changed her all of the time. No matter what time of the day it was, we always went to her room and changed her on the same changing mat. And that's also made our lives a lot easier, because she knew that if she was laying on that mat, she needed to lay still and get her diaper changed. I never had to deal with the rolling over on the floor and trying to crawl away and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed that. So since Jackson will be downstairs with us, and again, I'm not going to climb up the stairs every single time he needs a diaper change, especially in the beginning when they need their diaper changed a lot, I am going to be setting up a diaper changing station in our room also. So that's something that we did not do with Jane. We will probably also be giving him baths downstairs just because if we're already doing his whole entire routine kind of down there, it'll just be easier. Also with an infant tub and then Jane having to take a bath, they share a bathtub. So it'll probably just be easier to have the infant tub downstairs in our bathtub and have Jane still do her routine and everything in their room. And then by the time we move Jackson upstairs, we're hoping and thinking about 6 months is when that would happen. And by then he might be sitting up or be able to take a bath with her, or, you know, we can just bring the infant tub up here as well. So those are the main things that will be different for the good and the bad. Like I said, I wish we could move him to his room earlier because I do want him to like the crib like Jane does, and I really do feel like that's why. And I also don't want him to get used to sleeping on an incline. I'd rather him be able to sleep flat on his back. So we might change that, and we might even move a bassinet or our pack and play into our room instead of the rock and play after a few months, just so that he does have that flat surface to lay on as well. The other main reason why he will be downstairs with us a little longer is because Jane is still using the crib, and we are not going to buy another crib. Jane's crib does change into a toddler bed, but I would rather buy her like a full or even a queen size bed now and get her used to that than buy a whole nother crib and then have to change again. So money wise is the main reason. We can give Jackson the crib. Jane can get like a full or a queen. I'd rather not put her in a toddler bed because then they grow out of that so fast. They grow out of twins fast, I feel like, too, as well. So I just want to go ahead and get her the bed that she's going to be using for a long time and get her used to that. And then once Jackson's out of the crib, we can even convert the crib then and then buy him a bed then, but I won't be buying a whole nother crib, if that makes any sense. So the fact that she's still using the crib that we're going to be using for Jackson kind of also makes it so that we're not going to be putting him in his room because there will be no crib for him. I'm hoping that once Jackson gets here, we're going to be talking a lot about a big girl bed for her and how Jackson's going to use the crib soon and things like that. We're also going to buy her cute bedding and buy the bed and actually put it in her room even when the crib's still in there, and try to transfer her slowly that way. I feel like the main reason why Jane is still in a crib now, besides the fact that she's never wanted to crawl out of it, she doesn't necessarily see anybody else in a big girl bed her age. We have friends her age, but we don't necessarily ever go to their houses or see where they sleep. So she knows that we sleep in a big bed, and she knows about big beds. I mean, she's seen them before, but nobody her age, and so she just knows the crib, and that's basically it. So I feel like if we bring in a bed and some cute bedding and stuff like that, maybe she'll get the idea that she can sleep in a bed too and maybe want to move then. But I don't want to force her out, if that makes any sense. So the other main thing that we'll be doing differently this time is Jackson's room is not going to be ready. And it kind of makes me a little bit sad because I wish that his room could be all done up for him and look really cute, because that's how it was with Jane. Jane had all this stuff up on her walls, and the crib and the bedding and all that, and the rocking chair, and that's just not going to happen this time because Jane's using the crib. We don't have anything really for his walls yet. We have one thing for his walls. I just haven't bought anything. Haven't even bought any bedding yet because, again, Jane's in the crib, so there's no need for the bedding. And the dresser that's also in Jane's room will be going into Jackson's room because it has the changing pad on it. And Jane is not potty trained yet, so we still need the changing pad for her in there. And hence the other reason why we're going to be making a changing station downstairs. If you guys get my drift, there's a lot of going on here with the transition between Jane being a toddler and still needing to be potty trained and still being in a crib, and Jackson using those things. And if we had all the money in the world, yeah, I'd buy everything. I'd buy a new crib, I'd buy a new dresser, I'd buy a new changing pad. But I feel like she is on the cusp of getting out of the crib, and she's on the cusp of being potty trained, and I don't want to buy all that stuff just for 2 months worth of use. and then we have like 2 of everything. I'm just gonna have to play everything by ear with that sake, and whenever Jane's ready to be in a big girl bed, we'll move the crib in and we'll get his room set up. The other thing that I decided way before we got pregnant that I wanted to try different with the second baby is to not rely on rocking the child to sleep. And there are exceptions for this. Obviously, I loved rocking Jane to sleep when she was little. It was a time that we got to bond, and actually Chris did that a lot as well. He used to be in charge of putting her to bed, and so he would rock her to sleep, and he loved that. He was actually kind of sad when he didn't rock her to sleep anymore. But it also made it a little bit difficult for other people to watch Jane, to rock them to sleep, because she wasn't as good as going to sleep with other people. So it kind of made it difficult that way. Also, I want to make sure that Jackson can put himself to sleep. We got lucky with Jane because she likes sleep, I feel like, and once we started to not rock her to sleep, there was a little bit of a rough time there, about a week and a half, but then she caught on pretty quickly and we no longer had to rock her to sleep, and so it makes it a lot easier for other people to put her down for naps and put her to bed. And I kind of want that to happen a lot earlier for Jackson, because we want to be able to go on date nights, and we want to be able to go on vacation without the kids, or have our parents watch them while we go out to dinner or something like that, and them not have to feel like they have to rock them. Because I remember a lot of the times with Jane, you would have to sit there and rock her for 15 minutes or so, and you could not put her down awake. Or even if she was like half asleep, as soon as you would lay her down, she'd wake up and cry. And so I feel like that was just a burden on them. And I know like our parents don't really care, but like a babysitter or somebody might feel differently. So that's something that we're gonna try to do earlier on with Jackson. And the fact that the rocking chair is still in Jane's room might make that a little bit easier. We could move the rocking chair into Jackson's room now, because we don't really use the rocking chair with Jane. We read a book we sit and read a book every night on that chair still with Jane, but we don't have to sit there. It's not like I'm rocking her to sleep, or, you know, we could sit on the floor or even read the book while she's in the crib. So we don't need it in there. But again, if he's not sleeping in his room, there's no point of me coming all the way upstairs to rock him and then take him back down. And there's no way we're moving the rocking chair into our bedroom because there's no room. So the fact that we won't even have the rocking chair available to rock him might make that a little bit easier. Or, like I said, I might be coming back to you guys later being like, we needed the rocking chair. There's no way to get this kid to go to sleep except for to rock him. So we'll see. That's the plan, is to try not to rock him to sleep every single night, and to try to get him used to putting himself to sleep when it's time to go to sleep. So another thing that I'm a little bit nervous about to do differently this time, that I feel like worked very well with Jane, is being on a schedule. I read a book before Jane got here. It was called like 12 Hours of Sleep at 12 Weeks Old, and it worked to a T with Jane. She was sleeping 12 hours a night at 12 weeks old, but the schedule was very rigid. It was, you woke up at this time, you ate at this time, you played at this time, you went to sleep at this time, you took a nap at this time. Like, we had to follow it to a T, and you basically had to be home and in the crib and not like out taking naps in the car seat and things like that. So it was really easy, since Jane was our only child, to do that at the beginning, to, you know, make sure we were home for the naps. But I feel like this time it will be harder, because we do take Jane to gymnastics class. We're going to be signing her up possibly for swim. We're going to be signing her up possibly for dance class. And, you know, just not having Jane be cooped up in the house. You know, when the babies are really small, they take 2 or 3 naps a day. And so there's really no time in between to do much. And so that schedule is going to have to be somewhat flexible. I do still want to go by the schedule somewhat, but like I said, I'm going to have to be flexible in that he might have to take naps while we're out doing other things with Jane. And so I'm a little bit nervous, like I said, because it really did work with Jane. And I know Chris didn't enjoy always being stuck at home, so he might like this a little bit better, and hopefully Jackson will be a good sleeper like Jane, and he can adjust to that, and maybe we can make 1 nap a day home for sure. And then once he goes down to like 2 naps or even the 1 nap, it'll be a lot easier to make sure we're home for that. Just the whole schedule thing, I liked having a schedule. I still like having a schedule. So it'll just be what kind of schedule can I fit together with the other things that we're doing with Jane and our family in general. And I know tons of parents have had to deal with that, so I'm not too worried, and I'm just gonna have to play the beginning by ear. When they're really, really small, like the first few weeks, there is no schedule. They say there's possibly, like, you just go with the flow. The baby's hungry, you feed it. If it needs to sleep, you sleep. So that'll be easy in the beginning, because we'll just take Jackson everywhere we go, and if he falls asleep, he falls asleep. But once I start trying to get him into somewhat of a routine so that we can plan things and not have to guess why he's crying, basically, it'll be a little bit more difficult, but I'm up for the challenge. And I also know that that part of life doesn't last very long, the newborn phase. I tended to rush that with Jane, like, it's like, oh, I can't wait till she's at 2 naps, or I can't wait till she's at 1 nap, I can't wait till she can sit up, I can't wait till she crawls. And this time I feel like I'm gonna try to slow things down, and if we're having a rough day, just remember that this is how it is, and it's gonna go by in a blink of an eye, and today is just a rough day. So hopefully when he gets here, I'll still have that mentality, but we'll see. One thing that I am gonna be doing for sure with Jackson that I did with Jane is, I know this video is supposed to be what I'm going to be doing different, but I am going to still be cloth diapering, and I can do some more cloth diaper videos for you guys if you would like. But again, with Jane still not potty trained, the diapers that I do have are 1 size fits all, so they're at the larger size right now, and I only have 12 diapers. And Jane goes through them about every 2 to 3 days. So especially since the newborns go to the bathroom so much in the very beginning, we will probably just use disposables in the very beginning, and then hopefully by the time we do want to transition him to cloth, once he has kind of like a poop and pee routine, Jane will be potty trained. And if she's not, then we'll just keep him in disposables for a little bit longer. But as soon as she's potty trained, then we'll make the diapers smaller and put them right on him, because we are definitely enjoying cloth diapering. At least I am. Chris is, you know, iffy on it, but he supports that I do it because it saves us money. So that's something that we will be doing the same. Okay, so I feel like this video is getting really, really long, so I'm gonna go through just a few more things that we are gonna try to do differently. Okay, another thing is I'm definitely gonna try to breastfeed Jackson. I'm not even really sure what happened wrong with Jane, so I feel like that's gonna be a little bit difficult this time to try anything different, because I feel like I was doing what I could and then it just didn't work out. So that possibly might happen with Jackson this time as well. But I have heard that all babies are different, and maybe Jane just didn't want to breastfeed and Jackson just might be a pro at it from the start. I don't know. So I definitely want to try breastfeeding. I know that breast is best, and I also know that formula is okay. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it like I did with Jane either. So yes, I am going to try to breastfeed, and I'm gonna put my best into it, but also what I will do different is if it doesn't work out, then it just doesn't work out, and I'm not gonna drag it on. Basically with Jane, it was just horrible from the start, and I decided to exclusively pump, and basically I was just attached to the pump 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I still wasn't producing enough for her. And I was constantly worried about it. I was constantly talking about it. I was constantly attached to the pump. I was depressed about it. I didn't want to not give her breast milk. I didn't want to change her over to formula, and it was just a horrible 3 months. And 3 months doesn't sound very long, but it was a long time to think about that, literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So this time, if for some reason it doesn't work out, as soon as it doesn't work out, I'm just going to switch over to formula, because I don't want to deal with that again, and I don't want to just be depressed for that whole beginning of his life like I was with Jane. And yes, like I said, I am going to try my best. Another thing that I will probably try with Jackson, this isn't until like 6 months, is baby-led weaning. I knew about baby-led weaning when Jane was born, but we did not do baby-led weaning. I actually made our own baby food, and that was fun and challenging at the same time. It was hard to keep up with making enough food for her at some points, and it just took a lot of time. And I could just feed her jarred baby food too. It's not a big deal, but I do want to try baby-led weaning. I feel like there's a lot of benefits for baby-led weaning, and maybe I'll do like a separate video about that as well, or even if we do decide to do it, I can do a few videos on that too. So we might do a little bit of both. Maybe I'll make some baby food and also do baby-led weaning, but I definitely feel like we might try that, but we do have a lot of time to decide that. So that is it on all the things that I will try differently right now that I can think of. And let me know if there were some things that you did with your first child that you did not do with your second, or vice versa, or any advice that you have on the things that I mentioned in this video. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Jackson is due May 5th, so he'll be here really soon. There's going to be a lot of cute videos with him in it as well. And I'm just so happy about all my subscribers that I have now. Thank you for subscribing if you're a subscriber. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.